At the end of Squid Game Season 1, Gi-hun finally regains his sanity and seems ready to move on with his life. However, on the day he's set to fly to America to reunite with his daughter, something snaps. Instead of boarding his plane, Gi-hun calls the Squid Game organizers to go back. But why? It might have been seeing the recruiter again, luring more desperate people in, that made Gi-hun angrier and wanting to get revenge. But more moments led up to the decision to go back, and the clues? They were hidden in Season 1. Looking back at Gi-hun's journey so far, he starts off as an irresponsible gambling addict, but he's actually pretty kind and hopeful. He doesn't really get how serious things are and believes he can still fix everything. Could it be this innocent optimism that translates into him winning the games? We'll get to why this is important. Throughout the games, Gi-hun keeps questioning if what he's doing is right. Deep down, he still believes in himself and in the goodness of others. In the final game, he refuses to kill Sung-woo and instead reminds him of their friendship. He even suggests they leave the game together, showing that Gi-hun won't give up his humanity. But then Sung-woo sacrifices himself, saying Gi-hun deserves to win because he's a good person. After that, the games change Gi-hun completely. They break him down and reshape him into someone much darker. For instance, after winning, Gi-hun's overwhelmed by grief, anger, and most of all, guilt. It feels like he survived only to suffer more. The optimism and compassion that defined him become overshadowed by cynicism. Burdened by the trauma, betrayal, and moral struggles from the games, he's consumed by emotional darkness. Was survival even worth it? What does it truly even mean to be human? Then comes a pivotal moment. After not touching the prize money for a year, Il-nam mysteriously invites Gi-hun to meet. On Il-nam's deathbed, Gi-hun finds out that Il-nam wasn't actually a victim, but the one behind the entire Squid Games. Thrown into mental chaos, Gi-hun discovers that the old man faked his death and was secretly pulling the strings all along. This completely reframes the games, making them even more meaningless and leaving Gi-hun questioning everything. Il-nam's casual disregard for the suffering he caused fills Gi-hun with rage, providing the next spark for his transformation. So now what happens to the Gi-hun we met after the games? The broken, uncertain man is gone. He's replaced by someone fiercer and more determined. The red hair? It signals that Gi-hun is not the same person anymore. The color might be a nod to his anger or to the blood and sacrifices that got him here. Or maybe it's a way of saying there's no more turning back. This is a major clue. Gi-hun still feels survivor's guilt, but after meeting Il-nam, this turns into rage, which turns into a newfound sense of purpose, because he's ready to make everything that happened mean something. He won't let the rich keep thinking players and actual human beings are nothing. He starts by keeping Se-byuk's dying wish, finding her brother and making sure he's looked after. Gi-hun honors Sung-woo by letting his mother take care of Se-byuk's little brother. That act isn't just Gi-hun's regular kindness. It's him honoring the sacrifices of others and finally stepping into a role of responsibility. Maybe this was the first clear clue that he was going back to the games, but it wasn't the last. Clue number 2 could be Il-nam dying on the spot because it closes the door to answers. Things get even darker when Il-nam admits that the games had no real purpose. Now that he's dead, Gi-hun is desperate for answers. So desperate, he's willing to risk his own life to find closure by going back, by processing his trauma and trying to understand the system behind all of this. That's why Gi-hun decides to get answers and justice, possibly before he's even about to get on that plane. This might be pivotal, but it's not the last clue that led him to choose the nightmare again. If we fast forward to Gi-hun seeing the recruiter again, but now keep in mind the impact of Il-nam's meeting, Gi-hun's decision is still hard to understand. Even now, why would he choose to go back? It seemed like he was so excited to see his daughter and ready to move on with his life. But maybe moving on with his life includes a desperate attempt to redeem himself, and Gi-hun incorrectly thinks that it's by repairing his family. Gi-hun feels he needs to prove to himself and to the people who died that his survival had meaning. It would make sense to want to repair his family. However, everything comes at a price. Gi-hun still cares about others, but now his sense of right and wrong isn't so simple. Seeing the recruiter again sets off something dangerous in him, a mix of anger and desperation to catch the recruiter. This whole encounter starts a journey where Gi-hun's fight for justice might lead him to make some really questionable choices, and even be cruel and violent on purpose, just like the games. But Gi-hun's choice to return to the Squid Game, instead of focusing on his personal life, shows a deeper conflict within him. Remember how I mentioned he's trying to redeem himself? He mistakenly believes that fixing his family is the way to do that, and this is revealed by the phone calls, which are also the final clue leading him back to the games. So, Gi-hun's phone call to his daughter and the trip he planned show that he cares about her. When he turns away from the plane, you might have thought, why doesn't he just go to America, be with his daughter, and live the life he still has? Wouldn't fixing his family and life honor the people who died too? But Gi-hun's choice to go back to the Squid Game instead of focusing on his personal life shows a deeper conflict: justice versus healing. Should he work to tear down a messed up system, or should he concentrate on fixing himself and being there for his daughter? Well, if he goes to America, he could have a meaningful impact on his daughter's life. And fighting the games means taking on a much bigger risk. But it also means fighting for justice for everyone who suffered, not just for himself. Sadly, that's the only way he can actually redeem himself. I'll get to why in a second. Is he leaving his family behind again? Maybe. His choice to return to the games isn't just right or wrong, but shows how complicated his journey is. It's a struggle between making a difference in his personal life and trying to change the world by stopping the games. Even though Gi-hun is a good person at heart, the darkness from everything he's been through has clearly affected him. He's still carrying a lot of trauma from the betrayal and cruelty during the games, which makes it hard for him to see how he could ever go back to a normal life. Which is why he can't redeem himself by repairing his family. He'll never be able to be his true self with them or fully heal, because just like the police officers, they won't understand what he went through. For all they know, he'll still just be a selfish liar. In the end, his need to take action and to do something bigger than himself is stronger than his desire for personal happiness. For Gi-hun, it's not just about what's right, it's about finding meaning after everything he's been through. By going back, he's proving to himself that surviving meant something. He's getting the redemption he needs and taking on responsibility for a much bigger cause. After starting as someone focused on himself, this is a testament to how far he's come. But this decision is also heartbreaking. He's giving up a shot at personal happiness to take on a fight he might not even win. That's what makes his choice both heroic and tragic. It's the ultimate reflection of who Gi-hun has become.